supposed to ride that race, which he pulled out of because it was just, he had to travel, getting to Australia, then riding which they had the mixed team time trial, which the Dutch had, no luck at all in that one. That Van Vleuten crashed and mechanical for Mollema. So, I think that was really ambitious what he wanted to do. And I think looking back, Wout van Aert, when you look at what he was looking at and his preparation and the fact that he didn't want to ride the time trial, he just wanted to come to the other side of the world, because that's, to do that, to come from kind of Europe or come from Canada and these races and come all the way over to Australia, and the time difference and things like that. I always thought it was very ambitious for Mathieu van der Poel to be able to do that. And then the night before the big race and not being able to kind of sleep, it's obviously had a massive effect on him. And unfortunately, he's not in this race today.
Well, I have known interrupted sleep to be a tactic in the past. I'm not suggesting it at all that that's the case this time by. And when you are dealing with a whole raft of competitors, all the support staff and the like, there can be a... how can I put this politely? There can be a variable quality in the sort of hotels that you get. I mean, any hotel, of course, you can suffer from interrupted sleep. But equally so, you don't really have a choice of which room you have on occasion, whether it's facing a nightclub. And, we've all been there. We've all had a rough night's sleep. But if it's so bad, you've also got jet lag factored into it, and you don't know what else either. It clearly has had an impact on Mathieu van der Poel, and he knows his body, and he knows he's not something that he can turn around today. I mentioned Greg LeMond and his win into Chambéry, because he had a very light lead-in to the World Championships. I think he only did two major races, two one-dayers between winning the Tour de France and indeed winning the World Championships. So one of the very rare occasions where that's doubled up. This man was suffering a long time ago, and we heard his gearing was troubling him. He's going to have to race in an entirely neutral bike. He's a solo rider. He was having trouble very early on, and this is the best thing for him to do. They'll have to adjust the seat height for him very, very quickly. Yeah, exactly. So down it goes. He's kind of telling him as best as he possibly can. I mean, this is a desperate thing. He's so concerned about his own bike here. He's kind of not used to the fact that he's going to have to hand it over. We heard him having troubles earlier on, Brian, and it's been reflected now in an entire bike change.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, like we were saying a bit earlier, that, some people come here just to get round the race. And unfortunately, that mechanical and... that rider is now on a neutral service bike, doesn't fit him at all. So just to give some substance about Mathieu van der Poel, Cycling Tips are reporting that the Dutch superstar Mathieu van der Poel reportedly arrested on the evening prior to the men's elite road race at the World's Sports reports. Van der Poel was reportedly involved in a noise dispute at the Dutch hotel on Saturday evening. According to Sposa, Van der Poel became annoyed at children knocking at the door, eventually confronting them. And the arm of one of the girls was reportedly injured, leading to the police being called and Van der Poel's arrest.
Not been a happy time. Don't know the details of the charges fully, so not going to dwell too much on that. But clearly not at peace with himself, Brian, has stepped off the bike.
Yes, not good at all. I think he was at the police station being arrested last night at the Dutch hotel after confronting some youths that were kind of knocking on his door. He confronted them. Somebody got a little bit injured, called the police, and he was arrested. So not good at all.
No, and I don't really wish to pass comment on it, to be honest, without knowing more detail. So you'll forgive us for that. But anyway, thank you for that, Brian. We move on, sadly, without Mathieu van der Poel. Whatever the circumstance, he'll be missed, Brian.
I'll be sorely missed, and I think we'll miss him as well. But it's quite unfortunate. I think, this has been reported from Sports that's now on Cycling Tips. We'll wait till, after the race, we'll continue on. But I think the only other person I've heard about this was Nasser Bahani. Confronted, people being a little bit noisy in the corridor and things like that. But it happens that, you're trying to sleep. It's the World Championships, other hotel users getting a little bit kind of rowdy. But, if it is kind of knocking on the door and, I'm not saying it's deliberate or anything like that. He's a big star, but, it's not good at all. Not good for the race or anything. It's not good for the race that Mathieu van der Poel's not in the race. Yeah, it's one of these things that we'll hear a lot more about possibly after the race.
I'm certain we will. It's too big a name for that not to be the case. Likewise, Tadej Pogačar. He's the man, really, that's made us ponder whether the under-23 race has as much validity, because so many youngsters these days, Brian, find themselves, this is nice, that Yang here on a neutral bike, which he looks like he's struggling with just a little bit, has wrestled his way back into the peloton here. Good for him.
It is. It's good to see that he's back in the race, but he's another rider that is just in here possibly just to try and finish. He's riding with possibly some of his heroes there. The last thing you want is that, mechanical. You've not got a spare bike. As you say, Carlton, a lot of the smaller nations, I think you have to have a limited number. Maybe, I think it's about 5 in the World Championships. If you get less than 5, then you have to combine. And, your team car's back, and I think if he's travelled here, he might have travelled here with maybe on his own, maybe with one other person, and you've not got the big budget to bring spare bikes and things like that, so it's unfortunate for riders like this.
Well, here we are. Yeah, France decide that they're going to turn it on just a little bit. Bardet was getting lively. Valentin Madouas just wanted to stretch his legs. I think whenever you ask this kind of question, then there is automatic responses. Pavel Sivakov just dragging it out. France have been mustering towards the front. I thought it might well be Bardet that would have a push, but he almost led in Sivakov, who's found himself at this point, as you can see. 6 minutes and 14 down. I actually thought as well, Brian, if you want to test your climbing legs and you're within the pack, best thing to do is just roll off the front and actually just stretch your legs, quite frankly. And I think that's all this is. I don't think it's an attack.
No, I didn't think they would do it. I think we were talking about it, and you asked me the question, would anybody do it in this climb? And I said the only team with the numbers that would possibly try and do it was France. I didn't think they would. And like you say, Sivakov has come to the front, but it's just to kind of soften things up for later. I think the best tactic, I think, for France, and that's what they did last year in the World Championships when they came to the front. It just softened up the legs, sap the energy away. And one of the best places to sap energy away from a lot of riders is on a climb like this. But it's very early in the race, but at least they're trying to do something. So I think that's why Tommy Vauclair really wanted Cosnefroid here, because they will need the numbers today.
Isn't it absolutely glorious time to bring in the man who's been around a World Championship course on many occasions, I think 5. Tom Southern is, of course, one of the direct sportifs of EF Education. It's great to have him on board. It's been so lively, Tom. We're just catching our breath, really.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Just tuning in here. Looks like it's been going pretty fast with that downhill start, and they're straight into it on the offensive, the French.
It's good, actually. I was expecting it just to be more of a sort of a probing test, but it's more than that. They've engendered a bit of pace, and it's already having an effect, I'm afraid, a little bit further down the line here. Panama just started to struggle a little bit here. This is Espinosa, just having a brief chat with Zhang, who's managed to get himself back in. A little bit of bonhomie at the back, at the back door, as you will. This is Sirononachai of Thailand in the fetching gold and blue with the Thai flag as ribbons. Incidentally, the hoops that you see on old-style kits. It was that they literally, in the days before printing, sewed ribbons upon the jerseys, which is why you see those stripes so common. The British jersey only requiring 2 ribbons, one red and one blue. You just spaced it out a bit, and then you got the white one automatically. Anyway, now you know. So strategy-wise, Tom, it's a bit of a smorgasbord today. It's been it was pacey at the beginning, then it got cagey, and now the questions are starting to be asked by the teams. And those with the most firepower are the first to ask, like France.
Yeah, I did wonder if anyone would sort of try. It's super early in the race, obviously, this climb, but you still have to use what you can. It's a serious climb. It's 15 minutes, or so it's going to hurt the legs. And if you want to start to wear people down, you start now, and then you're going to come.
They're going with the same approach in this year's race.
Emil Sleepin's going through. Let's just take a little glance down and just see where we are with which group and where is that front group of riders.
There's Michael Matthews, so this is the back.
Share, like, subscribe. Leaders
from the French team are there. Like some of the riders also from the Great Britain team.
This is a very strong group of riders that's gone away, and now they're all looking around at each other and they sense the fact that they've got this lead. What do they do with it? France drive on again, but they no longer have Julien Alaphilippe in this particular group, do they? So should they keep on pushing?
You can also see Australia has 3 riders represented in that first group.
Plus Michael Matthews and another rider there at the back. So they're just moving to the front, having a discussion, seeing if when they start a chase, if they'll get some assistance.
Ethan Hayter is in this group.
So Nathan Van Hooydonk there from Belgium there as well.
Let's just take a look at this group. This is the group that we are thinking about now, with the French really putting the pressure on and continuing to put the pressure on. Australia do not want this to happen, and the reason for that, as Simon's identified, is that Michael Matthews is in the group behind. They want this to come back together, don't they? But interestingly, in this group, Tadej Pogačar has made his way into this group of riders.
Well, Tadej Pogačar's there, but